Swinging a drive. Right field and deep. Back goes Aquino. It's got a chance. Gone. Get out the tape measure. Long gone.
Fly the W!
Cubs fans, it's time to fly the W with Dustin Rhodes and Paul Crawley-Jean.
The W podcast and Crawley, the Cubs ruined Dodgers fans' vacation. Don't forget to listen, download, and subscribe, and most importantly, review our podcast. Follow on all the socials. I'm at Mully & Haw on X.
And you can follow me at Crawley's Cubs on X as well, but also on Blue Sky and TikTok. And then you can follow me at Crawley's Clubhouse on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. You're here hopefully on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe to YouTube and get notifications when we go live. And if you want to talk about anything, email us at crawleysclubhouse@gmail.com.
Well, there's plenty to talk about, Crawley, as this was an awesome series. Game number one, this was Shota Imanaga versus Dustin May. This was on Tuesday night, right?
Absolutely. I was there, Dustin. I have not lost in any of the Wrigley games I've gone to so far. I just want to kind of put that out there. Maybe,
keep it up.
Maybe I should put out some sort of GoFundMe or something and just try to like not work anymore and just go to the games. But
there you go.
I got to tell you, Dustin, I pull in, right, to go to the Cubs game. I park my car and I'm walking up Waveland, and I get to Sheffield, and I just see Dodgers fans everywhere. Like you could not. It was packed. They had their little parade. I'm sure many of you saw that on Twitter. Their little march, whatever you want to call it, chanting "Let's go Dodgers." When I got to the bleacher lines, they were literally like the very first 3 people were like Cub fans, 4 people. The rest were nothing but Dodgers fans as far as the eye can see. Everywhere I went to, right? Every store, every establishment, everywhere I stopped, there was Dodger fans. Now, the Cub fans came later, but they were there from the moment the gates opened. Dodgers fans were in that stadium. Cub fans, like I said, they were in no hurry to get there. Some of them come from work, but you could tell a lot of Dodgers fans traveled to catch this game.
Now, I wanted to ask about that. Now, I was talking about this with some buddies. Now, is this Dodger fans that traveled, or are Dodger fans kind of like Cub fans where, you go out to a certain market and there is a big group of Cub fans? You think there's that big of a group of Dodger fans that live here? You think they came from California?
I think they traveled, and I had a little issue with a Dodger fan. Me and him kind of were chirping a little bit.
Oh, shocking. Okay.
Yeah, but he went to school, I guess, college in Wisconsin, and they're from LA, and like 4 or 5 of them came down. So anybody that's a Dodgers fan that lives in the general vicinity of the Midwest came, and yeah, they do travel a lot. You're going to see the same thing with Boston. Philly this weekend travels really well, but Dodgers fans, obviously, they got Shohei.
That's a hell of a trip for them. I mean, that's a hell of a trip, especially in April, right?
Right. But like for me next year, I've never been to Fenway. And so I'm 100% going, and I know I'm not the only one. Right.
Right. So, I guess I'm thinking more the time of year. And I guess you don't get to control that as a fan. I'm just saying, if I was going to take a trip as a fan, I wouldn't go to Philadelphia in April, as an example. I wouldn't go to Pittsburgh in April, as an example. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. I just wondered if it was a local Dodger group of people that are all fans and they got together and tried to do what they did.
From what I could tell, they were literally California people. Obviously, they had a tremendous offseason. Shohei Ohtani, everybody wants to see him. They won the championship, so they're all wearing their World Series gear and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
all right.
There was definitely a lot of Dodgers from California. And this is a team you want to travel and watch for a lot of Dodgers fans. I would say too, is that, I just think about, all the baseball owners who didn't want to pay the big money for Shohei Ohtani, the amount of people, the amount of Japanese fans that didn't even speak English.
Yes. There you go.
Was just unbelievable. And so there was like some Japanese girls that were like maybe like 5 rows afterwards. And after the game was over, I let them fly the W and take the picture and all that with the W flag. I mean, they weren't, this was for a lot of Japanese fans, this was their first game at Wrigley, first Cubs game.
Okay.
And so it was tremendous, but it just had a playoff vibe everywhere you went. Like the concourses, you could barely move. The lines for food was huge, or the washroom. It was just like a postseason game. That's the best I could describe it as.
Yeah, I mean, it came off electric both on 670 The Score and on Marquee. I was kind of in the middle on both. Was sampling both the TV and the radio broadcast. It was really, really cool. It came off really, really well.
And it started off with some fireworks, right? The first inning slugfest.
Did it really? I mean, at first you thought, are you serious? Like, really? Like, in that pitching matchup? I mean, didn't think that was going to be the way it was going to go down.
Well, Dustin, we talked about it in the tail of the tape last time that the Cubs were second in slug and the Dodgers were seventh. So you had to know there was going to be some extra base hits. And like I said, the first inning, Gage Workman, we'll talk plenty about him in segment 2 as well, but he leads the game off with an error when Shohei Ohtani hits one. He olays it. And then a couple batters later, Tommy Edman, that weasel. I swear, Dustin, he looked up and this dude hits a 3-run home run. And I'm just sitting there like, you have got, I mean, what is that? First off, how the hell does he just keep, he is a certified stone cold Cub killer. I am so tired of that guy. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying maybe somebody wants to collect a sample from that guy. That's all I'm saying. It was ridiculous. But the Cubs come back on a Hap double, a Tucker single. He steals a base, Suzuki double, Swanson triple, PCA. It's a bloop double, then a Maya bloop single. There was a lot of weird bloops and blasts all over the place. And so after the first inning, Dustin, the Cubs led 5-3. 9 men came to the plate for the Cubs. I mean, it was just excitement right off the bat.
Yeah, a lot of fireworks, really, really good, entertaining game. That's what you like to see with two big, two big franchises from big markets getting together and living up to the hype.
And I got to ask you, Dustin, are you concerned at all about Shota and the long ball? You remember when he came here?
Yeah,
that was
pop
the
flies,
knock on him.
right? We got to worry about pop flies, right? Because if you got the wind blowing out, something you got to be aware
right.
of.
Mm-hmm. There was concern about home runs, and we didn't see it last year. And I know a lot of people made fun of Jed about the weather reports and then the climate affecting the offense, but the data's there. Now, that's not the only reason they were bad, right? They played games outside of Wrigley as well last year. But all I can tell you right now is my concern going into the season with Shota was like, okay, if the wind was affecting it and offense was down, well, let's say it's a normal year, is offense against Shota going to be up, right? And so first inning gives up a home run to Tommy Edman. Second inning, he gives one up to Andy Pajes that almost like cleared the stadium. And then the sixth inning, he gives up a home run to Will Smith. And they weren't cheapy basket shots. No. He gave up a whopping 3 home runs that traveled a combined 1,254 feet, right?
Wow.
And so Shota gave up no home runs in his first start of the year in March, right? First 2 starts. But he's given up a home run in each of his last 4 starts in April, 7 so far. And so I thought, Dustin, this was the third outing to me. He didn't look sharp. I know there were errors and stuff like that, but
didn't look his best. I would agree. Didn't look his best.
He went 5 2/3 innings. He gave up 5 runs, but only 2 were earned on 6 hits, 2 walks, and 6 Ks. He had runners on in every inning except the third. And with all the walks and strikeouts, his pinch count was 90 by the time he retired Freddie Freeman to end the 5th. And I was wondering if Counsell was going to have him come out in the 6th inning.
Yeah, he used starting pitching longer than I thought in both games of this series.
Right. And so the question then, besides that, is should Counsell have pulled Workman earlier and should he have brought Keller back out? And I'll explain there. First, why was Gage Workman in the game to begin with? We talked about this last time when we were previewing the matchups. We said John Birdie had the most success against Dustin May.
Right. If we knew that, they had to know that.
Right. May was 3 for 6 with 2 walks. So fine. Okay, whatever. You want to start, Gage Workman, I understand it. It's difficult to get the young guy starts. And if you can't send him to Iowa, so if you don't want him on the roster, he has to go back to the Tigers. They have a chance to buy him back, etc. And so, all right, you start him. Critical error in the first leads to 3 runs. He was the final out, Dustin, in the first, third, and 5th innings. Twice he left runners in scoring position. he looked overmatched at the plate. Me, Dustin, he got 3 at-bats. He had 5 innings of defensive work. I would have pulled him at that point in that close of a game. Okay? This kid was shaken.
Yep.
And I hate to say this because I don't like when Cub fans do it. They were booing the hell out of him after
Were they really?
Yeah, the boo birds were out big time.
Full force, huh?
And I think the kid was probably shaken up a little bit. That's why I don't boo players. It really doesn't help. You think Gage Workman wants to get out. You think he wants to make errors. It doesn't help. And when you got a young kid like that, the only reason he never had a start in AAA. He never had a start in the majors. And now he's playing against the Dodgers because that's it. Don't be mad at him. It was stupid to boo him, and I think it shook him up a little bit. And so the Cubs are up 7-5 in the 6th inning. Will Smith hits a solo home run, and Max Muncy hit one that Tucker made a great play, slamming against the door and saving extra base hits. So Counsell puts in Brad Keller, who gets the final out of the inning. Great, right? It's a close game, but why keep Workman in there? And then in the bottom of the 7th, right? Still close game. Workman's still at 3rd, and Keller comes back for a 2nd inning of work against the 9, 1, and 2 hitters, right? Yeah. And I just didn't like that move. I thought, okay, Keller did his job. Now go to the A team and really start putting in some of your big arms there.
Agreed. Totally agreed.
And so Keller loads the bases on a single and walks Ohtani and Betts. You got to face Teoscar Hernandez. Hernandez hits one to Gage Workman. I don't know if he was thinking about throwing home. I don't know if he was thinking about turning 2, but the ball, he makes a stab at it. He thinks he has it. And all of a sudden he looks, he double takes. He doesn't have the ball. Dodgers, a run comes in. Dodgers trail 7-6. It's now a 1-run game. Freddie Freeman doubles. Dodgers take an 8-7 lead. Ethan Roberts comes in the game, gives up a sac fly to Tommy Edman. Will Smith hits a double down the line. Just like that, the Dodgers are up 10-7 after the bullpen gives up 5 runs in the 7th. Dodger fans are chanting. Cub fans are deflated. I just didn't like how I thought that Counsell should have put his knee on the throat after they got out of it with that 7-5 lead after Keller gets that final out. He shouldn't have come back out, and Workman should not have been out in the 7th. That's my opinion.
Yeah, they should have went to Birdie at that point. I agree.
So this team, though, Dustin, has no quit in them. They dust themselves off. They get off the mat, right? And again, how easy, Dustin? How many times have we seen it, right? Where you're just like, this one's over. You just go through the motions. Nobody really kind of cares anymore. But to me, I don't know. I just felt like this team, I didn't say like, this game is done. I believed that this team could come back. And so I know they did as well. Bottom of the 8th, 1 out, Ian Happ singles, and Justin Tucker comes up to bat. You want to talk about questionable managerial moves? Dave Roberts says, go ahead, pitch to King Tuck. Bad move. Tucker homers, and now it is a 10-9 game. We keep talking. The home runs he hits, Dustin, are in the biggest moments.
Biggest moments. This
is not garbage time. This is not whatever position player pitching. This is against some of the best relievers that the Dodgers have, and he hits that home hits the 2-run homer. That's just unbelievable. So you get to the 9th inning, you're down by 1, and Tanner Scott, who pisses me off because he should have been a Cub. Every time he pitches against the Cubs, I get mad. He comes in and gets Nico to ground out. Now I'm kind of thinking, oh boy, this is not going to be good. But then PCA is up, and he hits one that goes deep, but the wind kind of died down at that point, and it's caught for the 2nd out. Now you're down to the final out, Dustin. Miguel Amaya, basket shot. The basket giveth, the basket taketh away.
Right? I said that nonstop this week on the score, Crowley. Nonstop.
Cubs tie it up, and after Porter Hodge gets out of the 10th inning without giving up a run, Ian Happ hits the first pitch he sees, walk off. Cubs walk it off 11-10. Once again, this is the probability chart, and this is another one of those games just after they did it on Friday where it swung back and forth where, okay, looks like the Dodgers in the beginning. Nope, now the Cubs. Maybe 50-50 shot. Now it looks like the Cubs have it. Swings the complete other direction to the Dodgers. You're at about 99.9%, and then the win probability swings all the way to the Cubs. That
Amazing.
is
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I can
unbelievable.
only imagine what it would have been like at that game. And I can only
Oh my
imagine what it would have
God.
been like if he had left that game. I know you don't leave the games, but
No.
can you imagine? I probably would have walked out. I'll be honest. I would have been that furious. I know I sent a text to Mully and Haw in our group chat, and I said, this bullpen in all caps is trash. All caps, trash, Crowley. Trash.
I wouldn't know. I would say kind of, but I would say more the usage bothered me more than anything. And the thing is this too, is that for me, there was a lot of mistakes and they didn't quit. Jed Hoyer was on the score. This is what he had to say about this.
Watch a team like the Dodgers. You can't make any mistakes against those guys. We walked 2 guys. We walked Shohei and Mookie, and then obviously, made a crucial error. You just can't give them extra outs. They're great players. Freddie Freeman's a first out Hall of Famer. Like when he comes up and drives in those runs, you can't be surprised. Like we gave him those base runners. So you can't make those mistakes. But I thought fighting back against one of the best bullpens in baseball, hitting a 2-run homer against Vesia, homering against Scott, and then winning it in the 10th. I just thought that, that's a hard game to win against their bullpen, and our guys they kept fighting. And I will say that was for me, it was just, what I really liked about last night, honestly, was, it's mid-April and there's, sellout crowd and it was electric. And I thought, honestly, I thought the Wrigley in general last night was, it felt like something crazy was going to happen, just given how the fans were. And it was fun to see that in mid-April.
Dustin, there's a lot of heroes and goats in this one. With heroes, you got Tucker, 2-run blast to pull the Cubs within 1 in the 8th. Tucker was 3 for 4 with a walk and 2 RBIs. Amaya's 9th inning home run to tie it. Amaya was 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Happ had the walk-off hit. He was 4 for 5 with a walk. PCA was 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs. And Dustin, we need to tip our hats to 2 bullpen pitchers here. Gavin Hollowell came in when the Cubs were hemorrhaging. The bullpen gave up 5 runs. He comes in and shuts it down. He pitches 2 scoreless innings, no hits, no walks, 2 strikeouts, which allowed the Cubs comeback to occur. It could have gone a way different direction.
Yeah, really could have.
Porter Hodge comes into the game in the 10th with the Manfred man, Tommy Edman, that weasel on second, and no outs. He gets Will Smith the ground out. Edman advances to third, but then he strikes out Max Muncy for the second out and gets Michael Conforto to ground out and gave Happ the chance to walk it off. As far as the goats, and we're not talking about the greatest of all time, we're talking about the Billy Goats.
The Billy Goats, Crowley. The Billy.
We
Goats.
got Shota giving up 3 long balls. Gage Workman, obviously the biggest goat. Oh, you heard. Jed referenced the walks and the error. Gage Workman 0 for 3, gave up 2 critical errors that led to multiple Dodgers runs. Michael Busch struggled. He was 0 for 4 with 2 Ks and left runners in scoring position 4 separate times. But Dustin, I got to ask you, this was Ian Happ talking to the afternoon show on 670, The Score, about the Manfred man. And here's what he had to say, and I want your take on this.
I love it. We actually had, this was our hot take from Danny Mueller on the podcast this week. He did not love it. Some people want to see traditional baseball. I think it's good for the game. I think there's an excitement element to it. You're not seeing games go as long, which is keeping guys on the team. It's keeping engagement. That's a situation in that game. I think it was 1-1 going into the 10th there. The chances of being able to hit a homer to score a run there are slim to none. And I think we could have been playing baseball for a really long time. And then you get a guy in second base, both teams score in the 10th, and then you have, some bad luck for us in the 11th, but there's excitement and something to watch. And I think that it's been a great change.
What are your thoughts on the Manfred man rule?
I like it as well. I like it during the regular season. There's no reason to burn up a bullpen. I would not want it in postseason play.
Mm-hmm.
That's different. I like to have a winner and a loser, no ties, anything like that. And at that point, it's nice to know that you're going to be out of there in maybe a few minutes. Here's my problem with it. And we joked around about it. David wanted to give a tip of the cap to the skipper, Craig Counsell, for who he used. But it's the rule says that it's supposed to be the guy who made the last out in the ninth inning is supposed to be the runner on second, right? That's what the rule says.
As opposed to a pinch, but you could take him out, I guess, for a pinch
But
runner.
you can take him out for a pinch runner. Well,
Right.
I think it would be more interesting if you were not allowed to do that. Like,
I think that's a great
you're
point.
You're not allowed to make the pinch runner. And
Right.
then, great move. Great. I mean, I love David Haw. Okay, this is nothing, but we were joking around about it, and he wanted to give Craig Counsell kudos for doing the obvious thing, and that was putting Bruhan on second because he's the guy on your bench that can actually move around the bases a little bit. Otherwise, it would have been Justin Turner. Okay.
Right.
Otherwise, but I just think it would have been interesting if Justin Turner was the guy on second base, because
Right.
that's what the rule says. It doesn't say in the rules right away you can change him out. Everybody does it except for Tony La Russa. And that was a couple years ago. And the joke was that the White Sox and Tony La Russa not realize that this was the rule. So he took a bunch of crud for that.
Well, I got to tell you, Dustin, Chris Komka put this up here on Twitter. He says this was the first time the Cubs have scored 10 plus runs in at least 7 of their first 25 games since 1895. I mean, this Cubs offense is breaking all sorts of records here. That took us to game 2, Dustin. And look, big game as the season series tied at 3. This was the last matchup between these two teams in the regular season. The Dodgers starter was listed at TBD a couple hours before game time. But if you listen to the Fly the W podcast, you knew that Ben Kasparius would be getting the start and that it would be a bullpen game. And that's exactly what happened. So that's why you listen, right?
Listen and learn and be entertained. That's what we're trying to do here.
Now,
Inform and entertain.
Cub fans were drooling at the prospect of going up against Kasparius as the Cubs offense knocked him around last time when they saw him in LA. He was part of the reason that the Cubs scored 16 runs, but Kasparius did, okay. He pitched 2 2/3 innings of scoreless ball. The Dodgers actually struck first in the third inning with Teoscar Hernandez hit a 2-out bases loaded single to put the Dodgers up 2-0. But the Cubs answered back in the bottom of the fourth, 1 out. Dave Roberts called on Noah Davis out of the bullpen. Now, Davis made his Dodgers debut the night before, and he only got to throw 1 pitch, the walk-off single to Ian Happ. Welcome to the Dodgers, right?
Isn't that crazy?
Well, this outing didn't go a lot better. He gave up a single to Dansby Swanson. He walked Nico, and PCA goes yard again. Cubs take a 3-2 lead. Tough start for Noah Davis's career. But how about this for most home runs in March, April? Cubs players in age 23 or younger season since 1906. Anthony Rizzo had 8 in 2013. Corey Patterson had 5 in 2003. PCA is at 5, and we still got a week to go, Dustin.
Week to go.
We'll see what happens. But Matt Boyd didn't have his greatest start, but because of the offense, he was able to give them some length.
Yep.
We found out
up and down.
Right. We found out some information after the game that may have affected Craig's bullpen usage. But after giving up 2 in the third, the Cubs would give him back the lead. But in the top of the 5th, self-inflicted injury would hurt Boyd. The number 8 hitter, Miguel Rojas, singled to lead off the inning, but Boyd would get catcher Austin Barnes to hit a comebacker. And Dustin, Boyd's ready to start the double play, but his throw's offline, E1. And now instead of 2 outs, no one on, there's 2 outs, 2 on and no outs for the top of the Dodgers order. Boyd gets Ohtani to fly out and then picks off Austin Barnes. But then Mookie Betts would hit a 2-out double to tie it. Teoscar Hernandez untied it with a 2-run homer. Cubs are down 5-3. Boyd would pitch 1 more inning and give up 1 more run. He pitched 6 total, gave up 3 earned runs. I always think it's dumb when the runs don't count against you when it's your error as the pitcher.
Well, especially.
Right.
It almost should count double.
So he gave up 6 runs, 3 earned, 10 hits, 1 walk, and 4 Ks. But you know what? He grinded and he gave him innings when he needed them. And that's why this offense is so important, because with Justin Steele down and everything going on, you're able to do something. So the Dodgers have a 5-3 lead in the top of the 5th. Cubs offense gets right back to work in the bottom of the inning. Reliever Jack Trier got the first out, but Tucker and Justin Turner drew back-to-back walks. They execute a double steal. Dustin, this is like Don Zimmer stuff, like a steal of with Tucker, with whatchamacallum, to get that with the old man, Justin Turner.
Yeah.
Me, that's
Yeah.
mind blowing.
Yeah, it is pretty mind blowing. There's no doubt about that. I want to go back to Boyd, if you will, for a moment. I was shocked that they let him throw to Shohei Ohtani with first base open and 2 men on and a 1-run lead. Did that make you scratch your head at all?
I'm wondering, Dustin, if the Cubs see something, know something. I can't say what it is. Jesse Rogers put this up. Shohei Ohtani is 302 versus the rest of the league except for the Cubs. When he plays against the Cubs, he's hitting 179.
Yeah.
You want to walk a 179 hitter?
I mean, you're going by the book, right? You're going by the book. He ended up hitting it off his hands. I know his wife just recently had a baby. I didn't even know if he was going to be here potentially, right? I thought there was a chance that he may not be here for these games. So
I don't know, but all I can tell you is they shut him down in LA and now they shut him down in Chicago. Maybe they know something that the league doesn't. I'm sure the league's going to look at it. We were talking about that double steal with Tucker and Turner. He is the first 40-year-old Cub with a stolen base since Greg Maddux, May 13th, 2006, courtesy of Chris Kompka. How about that one?
Oh, Chris Kompka is awfully, awfully good at what he does.
Oh, God, yeah. And so now with those back-to-back walks, the double steal, Dansby would hit an RBI single to tie the game. Nico Horter hit a sac fly to give the Cubs a lead. And PCA added a little insurance with an RBI single to put the Cubs up 7-5. And then, Dustin, this is what I wanted to see the night before, the flamethrowers. Once Matt Boyd left the game with the Cubs up 7-6, Counsell went with 3 guys that can bring the heat. Daniel Palencia, Julian Merriweather, and Porter Hodge combined to give up 1 hit, no walks. They struck out 4 of the 10 batters they faced. Palencia hits triple digits on the radar gun. Merriweather and Hodge are in the upper 90s. All 3 of them looked filthy, and Hodge once again picks up the save with an easy 1-2-3 inning against Austin Barnes, Shohei Ohtani, and Mookie Betts. I mean, when you make it easy to sit down Ohtani and Betts, that says something.
That says a ton. It says, boy, it's unbelievable.
Now, as far as heroes and goats, how about that trio of relievers that we talked about and PCA? After struggling mightily against the Dodgers in Tokyo, he's absolutely owned LA pitching. He did it when he was in LA, and then in Chicago, he was 3 for 4 with a home run on 4 RBIs on Wednesday, and 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs on Tuesday night. Hit a home run in each game. Unbelievable. The GOATs, Carson Kelly and John Birdie, were 0 for 7 from the 8-9 hole. Kelly was 0 for 3 at the walk. John Birdie 0 for 4 with the golden sombrero, 4 strikeouts.
See, that's not good.
Well, again, Dustin, these are guys that if everything's going well, they are guys that don't play every day. I know Carson Kelly watched film of Barry Bonds and has looked unbelievable. You ride that hot hand till it's no longer hot. But it's like Mike Tauchman. He's not a guy that you need to see in the lineup every day. Eventually, the numbers are going to be what the numbers are going to be. But Dustin, I was so impressed with the way that I said the Cubs were going to take these 2 games. I kind of had a feeling, and I'll tell you why that is. Home runs and stolen bases is what has been defining this team to me.
Yeah, they have been running the bases like madmen.
This is from OptaStats. Through 25 games this season, the Cubs have hit 37 home runs and have notched 35 stolen bases. They're the first team in MLB history to have at least 35 of each through 25 games in a season. These guys can all run. They take their extra bases. Everybody. Turner, whether you're talking about Dansby Swanson, Seiya Suzuki, PCA, Nico Horner, John Birdie, Vidal Brujan, you name it. They just got guys that can run, and it's putting a ton of pressure on the opposing teams. And again, you have all these guys up and down the lineup that can pop home runs. Carson Kelly with 6 home runs, right? You got Kyle Tucker, PCA starting to rip it up. Seiya Suzuki. So you got these home runs. You got these stolen bases. If you can just get the bullpen a little bit healthier, I look out. I think that this team is ready to take off.
Right. Bullpen a little bit healthier, right? You have to get the continued excellent batting from that lower third of the order. and maybe pick up the defense over at third base. We're going to talk about that as we move through this, no doubt about it. This is season 4, episode 24. The Cubs ruined Dodgers fans' vacation to Chicago. Don't forget to listen, download, review, subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. You can email us at Crawley's Clubhouse, gmail.com, at Crawley's Clubhouse, gmail.com. And don't forget to watch us. That's right, on Crawley's Clubhouse YouTube page. So, Crawley, after the 2-day sweep of the defending world champions, how did the standings look?
Looking pretty good to me, but Milwaukee will not go away. The Cubs have first place at 15-10, followed by Milwaukee 13-11, Cincinnati at 11-13. St. Louis is struggling at 10-14, and Pittsburgh 5.5 back in last place, Dustin. We do have some updated power rankings. We kind of missed that last time. And so this is from Monday, just to kind of let our listeners know. This is from Monday. We got some new power rankings in the top 10. I'm very curious to see what comes up Monday, depending on how the Cubs obviously do this upcoming homestand against a really, I don't want to say a really good Philadelphia team, because they're kind of struggling right now, and we'll talk about that. But this is what we got right now when we're talking about it. The Rangers fell down to 10. They were previously number 9. The Diamondbacks, previously 10. They're up 9. I love this line, though. The Diamondbacks were cruising, one of the hottest teams in baseball, until they ran into the Cubs at Wrigley Field. They're getting national attention. The Tigers stay at 8. You got the Giants moving down to 7. The Yankees were previously 7. They're back up to 6. And then you got the Phillies from 3 to 5. And then the Cubs at number 4. They were previously 5 on that list. Mets 3, Padres 2, Dodgers 1 rounding on the list. But that was, again, before the Cubs took 2. I'm interested to see how this looks on Monday, depending on how the Dodgers and the Cubs do this weekend.
Absolutely. I will too. The power rankings, always interesting. We've, gotten through about a month of the season so far, right? We played about 30 some odd games. So it's pretty interesting stuff indeed. You've got some more audio we want to share with Jed Hoyer in his appearance with our afternoon show, or I'm sorry, our midday show, midday show. And yeah, Jed Hoyer, you guys had him on the score. Always great listening. And here's what there's 3 things that I think that we need to talk about. This first one is about Matt Shaw.
I think the ultimate hope is that, Matt Shaw will go down to AAA, kind of, find his swing again and come back up. I mean, that's sort of the hope and the plan. But yeah, we have to do better. I don't think there's any way around it. We can't, we're not providing much offense out of that position right now, that happens, but like we're providing poor defense. And I think that's really what's hurting us. And, it's cost us. You can't, like I said, you can't give these good teams outs late in games. We've made a bunch of crucial, late inning, mistakes over there. So we have to tighten it up defensively. And I think about our team and the way we're built, and this run scoring has been great, but ultimately we're not going to be able to score runs at this rate all year. We're built to be a really good, clean defensive team. We've got a bunch of guys that won Gold Gloves and don't make mistakes, and it destabilizes us, and we just have to cut out those mistakes.
100% agree with Jed on a lot there. Number one, the mistakes just cannot happen. This team is designed for run prevention. Nobody saw this offense coming as it is right now, Dustin. Nobody. And I think it's unrealistic to think it's going to continue for another 5 or 6 months. There's going to be games you're not going to score 10 runs every night. You have to be able to play good defense and have a tight bullpen.
Tight bullpen, very, very important. You got to have guys can stretch things out so you don't have to burn the bullpen up all the time either.
Yeah. So, and there's going to be no help coming. It's got to be Matt Shaw that's going to be the one that does it. I again, don't boo Matt Shaw is what I would say. I would say this is a kid that I wouldn't have started him this season. I would have waited till he warmed up. I would have waited till the weather warmed up, and I would have waited till the schedule got earlier. It is what it is. All of these guys we've talked about, whether it's Schwarber, Rizzo, Ian Happ, PCA, they've all come up, all gone down. He has to make the adjustments, and hopefully when he comes up, he's going to be a better player. The next thing that Jed mentioned that I'm always going to listen to is about Mr. Kyle Tucker.
As far as long-term stuff, obviously we'd love to keep Kyle long-term, and who wouldn't want, a player like that? And, I think that I would keep anything, I would keep any conversations we're having internal. I think that, it's hard to negotiate in season. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. If we do have those conversations, we'll keep them internal. But I do think, obviously, like I said, he's really fun to watch. I think he has a huge impact on the entire team and entire offense. And like I said, he's a player that any team would want to have in the lineup.
I mean, here's what I want him to say. Cub fans, we will do everything humanly possible to keep Kyle Tucker in a Cub uniform. That's what I would like to hear, Dustin. That to me.
I mean, of course, who wouldn't want to hear that? But he would tell us that that's not a good negotiating tactic, right?
I'll tell you what a good negotiating tactic is. This was on Marquee. Kyle Tucker ranks this season entering the game yesterday. Runs first, hits tied third, extra base hits first, home runs 6, triples, he's third in baseball, RBIs first, total bases first, times reaching safely second. He's in the top 10 in every single damn category. What are you going to negotiate? What negotiation? What leverage
you're right. I
get
not leverage, I guess, length, right? Time and stuff like that. I mean, listen, you're not wrong. You're definitely,
he is going to cost you
wrong.
A lot of money. More money than I know Tom Ricketts is going to be comfortable with. But I put this out on Twitter the other day and it got a huge response at Crawley's Cubs. I said, after the Cubs won the World Series, I thought that they were going to, not literally, but figuratively, I thought Ricketts, I remember going to CubsCon and everyone would chant, "Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom." I thought they were going to build a statue of the guy 50 feet high. He was worshiped. Now, how much would this impact this legacy if Tucker wins the MVP and he walks? I always thought he'd be remembered as the guy who ended the curse. But if Tucker goes on and has a Hall of Fame career, is that something he's going to want on his resume?
No. No, he's not. He's not.
Speaking of money, and this is one that we have heard about, how about those PCA extension talks, Jed?
We talked about the details. Obviously, it came out that we had conversations in spring training, and we did, and they're very amicable, and like I said, if we do revisit it, I would keep it quiet. But he's a great kid. I think he has a chance to be a great player. And obviously, we had those discussions in spring. We wouldn't have had those discussions if he wasn't a guy that we wanted to extend beyond our current control. And I think with Pete, I think that we're kind of like with Matt Shaw. We talked about Matt Shaw. Last year, Pete came up. He came up in 23 and struggled. He came up last year and struggled. Obviously adjusting to the league. I think we're starting to see, what he can be. I think he's he's maturing at the plate. Obviously, I think everyone can see what he does on defense and what he does on the bases. But watching that maturity, it happens quickly sometimes. And we watched it with him last year, and hopefully we're watching the same thing with Shaw later this summer.
I don't know, Dustin, what PCA's career is going to look like, but you've seen that be the a lot of teams signing young guys early, whether it's Jackson Churio, who was signed before he even played an MLB game to a massive deal. Jackson Merrill, whether you're talking about Ronald Acuna, everyone's wanting to lock these young guys up before they even sniff free agency. And so that's why, think about this in spring training. They were thinking about a $75 million deal for PCA, who honestly only had a couple good months last year. But They saw what they thought they had here. This is PCA's April right here. 5 home runs, 10 stolen bases, 15 extra base hits. He's the first player in MLB history to reach those marks before the end of April. And this one right here, the only players with an MLB with a higher WAR than PCA this season, wins above replacement, Aaron Judge, Fernando Tatis, and Corbin Carroll.
Think about that. Think about that. And isn't that the guy that they would like him to be most like is Corbin Carroll, based on his skill set and whatnot?
I think he's yes, with the hits and the runs.
I mean, he's not going to be Aaron Judge. Not going to be Aaron Judge with the power. Probably not going to be Tatis with the power. But that's not what you're looking for with your center fielder.
I can just tell you if they can extend him to a long-term deal, and if Pete keeps up his work ethic, doesn't get sloppy or let it slide like we've seen some players do after getting paid, I mean, that could be one of the all-time best Cubs trades. The Cubs got PCA for 2 months of Javi Baez going to the Mets. Think about that.
Isn't that amazing?
I mean, you're talking about That's up there with the Cubs getting Fergie Jenkins from the Phillies, or Ryan Sandberg from the Phillies, or getting Aramis Ramirez and Kenny Lofton for Bobby Hill from the Pirates. That could go down as an all-time great trade if PCA keeps it up and the Cubs can extend him. Dustin, I hate to go to the roster moves and injury report. Not long after our last podcast, actually, we had a breaking news live. I remember that was our guy Steve Scherr told us. You saw a couple moves happen. So right away, number one, right-handed pitcher Galvin Hollowell is going to go down. Is going to be recalled, and Jordan Wicks was going to go down. That was kind of surprising, I think, to us that Jordan Wicks was sent back right away.
I mean, if you can't get the ball over the plate, you can't walk guys, and obviously he's got an issue coming out of the bullpen. I just feel like they didn't do him right. I know we talked about it. What you said made sense about you brought him out to California so that if you had an emergency, but again, like, couldn't you have brought somebody else if you had an emergency? I mean, how likely was it going to be that you were going to have an emergency, Crawley? That's my problem with it. I don't think they did right by the kid, and he obviously then didn't do right by them. You know, he didn't do the job. He couldn't come out of the bullpen. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. If he wants a spot right now, that's where it's going to have to be. I don't know if there's an open.
Right, you're not going to take it away from Colin Ray right now, right? I mean, Colin Ray has earned the right to continue to be in that role.
So after Gavin Hollowell goes 2 scoreless innings against the Dodgers, he gone back to Iowa. They selected left-handed pitcher Drew Pomerantz. They transferred Justin Steele to the 60-day IL. They picked Nicky Lopez off the scrap heap a little less than a week after he was gifted by the Angels. And Dustin Gage Workman did not survive the meltdown. He was DFA'd, which means I haven't seen anyone pick him up yet. So Tigers get first dibs. They get him for $50,000 if they want to pay for him. And then he goes through the league until the Cubs get another shot. But, you know, Steve Scherr talked about that news last time. He put the comment right there that Rosenthal said that the Cubs acquired him from the Mariners. He's 36. He's been pitching at AAA, 14 strikeouts, 6 walks, and a 4.66 ERA, 9 2/3 inning. Manager Craig Counsell's familiar with him. So, you know, just trying to see if somebody sticks. That's what you do. That's like the spaghetti thing, right? We throw spaghetti against the wall, see what sticks.
Is that what you do? I thought it was something else, but okay. Now we're keeping this a family-oriented
show
podcast,
here.
Family-oriented podcast.
Now, Seiya Suzuki was not in the lineup yesterday. I saw him slide into second on Tuesday night. That wrist keeps giving him trouble. He's day-to-day. Dustin, I know people are like, don't break it. I'm one of those guys that usually says that, but man, can you really have Justin Turner being your cleanup hitter and DHing?
Well, okay. Here's the thing. Again, Craig Counsell's never going to like me. So it doesn't really matter. He doesn't know I exist. And that's totally fine. But I said it before. I'll say it again. It's lazy. Why does whoever is DHing have to be in that spot?
It doesn't. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. That makes absolutely no sense. I am not suggesting to screw PCA up as an example, and all of a sudden have PCA batting third or fourth where you're batting your DH on most nights. But I mean, wouldn't you just move everybody else up a tick and then put that guy down a tick without affecting PCA?
That's what I would do.
I just don't understand it. It just seems so lazy to me. Lazy lineup.
Well, even more, we know that Eli Morgan is going to be out. He's on the 15-day IL. He has pain in his throwing elbow. He's shut down for 2 to 3 weeks with ulnar neuritis. And then, Dustin, some really bad news, obviously. Number one, we were wondering why Ryan Presley didn't close the game on Tuesday night.
Yeah, well, we found out after the game, right? We found out last night.
And why Porter Hodge went back-to-back, and we saw no Ryan Presley. Where was the closer? He had fluid drained from his knee. So they say he's going to be ready for Friday this weekend. We will see. The other bad news that we got came from our guy, Jason Kemp. He's the new AAA broadcaster for the Iowa Cubs. He said, oh no, Javier Stott started to warm up in the 5th inning and grabbed at his side and immediately walked to the dugout. Keegan Thompson comes on. Dustin, we've talked about those obliques. He's going to have to go back to Chicago and be evaluated by the medical staff, but we have no idea when he's going to be back.
Nope. That's obviously not good news. Not good news at all. All right, what's next, Crowley? We are going to move into the third segment of this podcast. And of course, it is episode number 24, Crowley. It is season number 4. And we are so happy to say that the Cubs ruined the Dodger fans' vacation. Don't forget to listen, download, subscribe to this Fly the W podcast. You can also leave a 5-star review. We won't mind. You can email us, crawleysclubhouse@gmail.com. And don't forget, you can watch us. That's right, on Crawley's Clubhouse YouTube page. All right. Kyle Schwarber and the Phillies coming to town starting on Friday, and it is an afternoon affair.
Yep, we have not seen the Phillies yet, and they had a great 2024. They finished in first place in the NL East with a record of 95-67. You remember on September 23rd, the Phillies clinched the National League East Division title for the first time since 2011 with a 6-2 win against the Cubs. The Phillies took the regular season from the Northsiders 4-2, but despite that great regular season, Dustin, they finished with the second best record in baseball behind the Dodgers, but they were out in the first round, beaten by their division rivals, the Mets, 3-1. So they went to work in the offseason. And one of the big things, and we're going to see this guy this weekend, they added Jesus Luzardo into that rotation. They got Max Kepler to play left field, and they added a reliever in Jordan Romano to close games. So that was big, and they didn't really lose anyone of major consequence. Jeff Hoffman was a relief pitcher. Carlos Estevez was someone I kind of was looking forward in that backup role as a catcher, and Austin Hayes, but Jesus Luzardo is a big one. But this year, the Phillies are 13-2, and they just got swept into 3 games by the red-hot Mets. That's putting them 5 games behind the Mets in the standings.
Boy, are the Mets hot.
The Phillies started hot. They won their first 3 series against the Nationals, the Rockies, and the Dodgers. But in their last 4 series, they've lost 3 and split 1. So the Cubs are catching the Phillies at the right time. Their number 2 starter, Christopher Sanchez, had to leave a game early with forearm issues, and that's going to be looming large. Brandon Marsh is out with a hamstring injury, and Ranger Suarez is on a rehab assignment with a sore back. So, Dustin, we are not going to see any of those guys.
Well, I'm not going to complain about that, Crowley. I'm just not going to do that right here. Not right now. Not going to do it. Tail of the tape.
All righty. Batting average. How about this? Your Chicago Cubs, best in baseball at the 265 batting average, followed by the Phillies. They have 8th, 251. So the Cubs got the advantage there. In slug, this is why the Phillies are struggling, Dustin. Right here, this is why the Phillies are struggling. The Cubs have the edge. They are 460 in slug, second in all of baseball. That's that offense that we're talking about. And the Phillies slug is 381. They are 21st in all of baseball, and that's not what these boppers, your Nick Castellanos, your Kyle Schwarbers, your Bryce Harpers, the Brandon Marshes of the world. You expect all these guys to hit, and they're not. They're hitting singles. That's not what this team is designed to do.
It's not.
Runners and scoring.
They're not a station-to-station type of team, no.
No, and they don't have speed as well, like the Cubs do. So the Cubs are third with runners in scoring position, average 283. So think about that. They're first in batting average, second in slug, third with runners in scoring position. It's why the Cubs are doing what they're doing. The Phillies are 13th with a 251 average with runners in scoring position. Starting pitching ERA is pretty similar. The Cubs are at 350, which is 7th in all of baseball. Not bad. And the Phillies are 362, which is 9th. So just a couple behind the Cubs. So that's pretty even, but the Cubs still get the advantage. Reliever whip. How about this? The Cubs and Phillies are tied 25th in reliever whip. So bad bullpens on both sides. But here's the real difference, Dustin. Defense. And this is why the Phillies have to hit home runs. Fielding, the Cubs are 7th in baseball with a 9 defensive run save, even with all the bad third base play. But the Phillies are negative 15 defensive run save. They are 29th in baseball. I think only Oakland is worst. And so that's why they have to score runs in bunches, is because their bullpen stinks and their defense is awful. Everyone's always known that the Phillies defense has been awful. That's why they tried to move Castellanos and they couldn't do it. And so, the Cubs have the advantage in every statistical category against the Phillies.
Pretty amazing, Crowley. I would, if you would have told me that going into this series, I would have said absolutely no way, no how that was possible. There's just not a chance. All right, you want to get into the pitching probables then?
Yep, we got Colin Ray versus Taijuan Walker in game 1, a 120 start. Colin Ray has not factored in a decision yet, but he's appeared in 5 games. two of those starts since being put into the rotation for Justin Steele. And Dustin, like you said, no way that they're going to whatchamacallit, take Rea out of the lineup. He has a 1.32 ERA with 12 strikeouts and 13 2/3 innings pitched. In his first start against the Dodgers, he pitched 3 2/3 innings, gave up 1 run on 4 hits, 5 Ks. He threw 68 pitches. In his next start, he was able to pitch 4 2/3 innings, gave up 1 run on 5 hits, 5 Ks. He threw 69 pitches. And so you hope, Dustin, every time he goes out, that you try to extend him another inning. You try to get that pitch count maybe in the 70s this time.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
The Reyes 0-2 lifetime in 6 starts against the Phillies, 4 of them in 6 games against the Phillies, 4 of them starts, but he has a solid 2.89 ERA. JT Real Muto's hits Rhea real well. He's 3 for 8 with a home run and 2 RBIs against Colin. And Kyle Schwarber is 3 for 7 with a home run and 4 RBIs. But a lot of Phillies don't hit Rhea really well. Alex Boehm is 0 for 7. Nick Castellanos 2 for 9. Bryson Stott is 1 for 7. And Bryce Harper 0 for 10 against Colin Ray. Now, Taijuan Walker is 2.29 ERA with 4 starts in 16 Ks and 19 2/3 innings. Taijuan has only allowed 1 run or less in 3 of his 4 starts, but he struggled 2 starts ago against a good San Francisco team. He gave up 6 runs, 4 earned on 6 hits, and gave up 2 home runs in 5 innings of work. In his last start against Miami, now this is important for our listeners, he went 4 innings and gave up 1 run on 1 hit with 3 walks and 2 K, but he only threw 56 pitches. He left the game with when his right shoulder tightened up against the Phillies. It was a 4-run 3rd inning, and so he has gone 6 innings or pitched or less. He went 6 innings his first start of the season, but has thrown 5 innings or less in his last 3 starts, Dustin. He's been throwing a lot of pitches. So he's been going 4 or 5 innings, but throwing 99 pitches, and the Cubs have been doing a great job taking walks. So that's going to be something to watch. Taijuan is 2 for 2 lifetime against the Cubs in 7 games, 6 of those starts, and he has a 3.38 ERA. John Birdie is 7 for 19 against Walker, and Say is 3 for 6. But Dansby's 4 for 15, and Ian Happ's only 1 for 12 against him. Walker mixes up a split finger, cutter, sinker, 4-seam fastball, and slider pretty evenly. Game number 2, we got Ben Brown versus Jesus Luzardo. We talked about Luzardo. It is going to be a 3 p.m. start, Dustin. I will be at that game.
I feel like there's some TV, and I feel like there's some national TV involved in that one.
Yeah, and here's the thing: it's going to be Clark the Cub on the old scoreboard bobblehead. So I will be that one. Ben Brown is starting 2-1 with a 4.57 ERA in 5 games. 4 of them starts with 26 innings and 26 strikeouts and 21 2/3 innings. The issue this season with Ben has been walks. Because of the number of high strikeouts he gets, he's also when he issues a large number of walks, he can't go long, right? So 3 starts ago against San Diego, he gave up 5 runs on 7 hits in 4 innings, 4 walks and 5 strikeouts. So that's 9 combined walks and strikeouts. You're not going to last long. His next start against the Dodgers in LA, he pitched 6 scoreless innings, gave up 5 hits, 5 Ks, but no walks. So he's able to go 6 innings. Then in his last start against Arizona, he went only 4 innings, gave up 1 run on 3 hits and struck out 6, but he walked 4. So you combine that, that's 10 strikeouts and walks. So this will be Ben's first start against the Phillies. No one on their team has an at-bat against Ben, but the Phillies are one of the best teams in baseball when it comes to drawing walks. So if Ben can't have his control, he is going to be in a lot of trouble in this game.
Yeah, sure will.
Jesus Luzardo is 2-0 with a 2.08 ERA in 5 games, started with 36 strikeouts and 30 1/3 innings. Luzardo was the Phillies' big offseason acquisition, and he's been pitching like it. Like Taijuan Walker, he hasn't given up a lot of runs except for 1 bad start. He's given 1 run or less in 3 of his last 4 games. The only bad start, like Taijuan Walker, was against the Giants when he gave up 3 runs on 5 hits in 5 1/3 innings with 2 walks and 4 Ks. He bounced back in his last start against Miami, giving up 2 runs, 1 earned on 8 hits, no walks, and 7 Ks in 7 innings. Luzardo is 2-0 lifetime in 5 starts against the Cubs with a 2.90 ERA. And this team does not have a lot of success against Luzardo. The team slashes 152, 253, 258. Happ is 2 for 10. Kyle Tucker, 1 for 13. That's the first time I've seen Kyle really have bad numbers against a guy he's seen often.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nico, 2 for 9. I remember Luzardo, he pitched, I think it was game 1 or 2. I think it was game 2 against the Cubs in the 2020 postseason. And he got the win. And I was on the rooftop watching, and he just mowed the Cubs down. Luzardo uses a 4-seamer, sweeper, and changeup.
Okay.
then-
That one worries me now a little bit.
Yeah. And so, Dustin, now we get into the final game of the season. And so that one is going to be on the 4-letter network. That is going to be a night game, 6:10 p.m. It is a Fox game on Saturday at 3:05. So you got a lot of national broadcasts, which is a shame because I feel like Alex Cohen has been killing it lately. I just wanted to add. But yeah, that's a night game. Jameson Tyon's 1-1 with a 4.73 ERA and 5 games started with 24 strikeouts in 26 and 2/3 innings. J-Mo hasn't factored in any of his last 3 outings. On April 8th versus the Texas Rangers, he gave up 3 runs on 5 hits in 6 innings, no decision with 6 Ks. In his next start against San Diego, 5 1/3 innings and gave up 2 runs on 4 hits. And his last start against Arizona last weekend, he gave up 1 run on 3 hits in 5 innings, but that game went into extra, so another no decision. Now, J-Mo does not have good numbers against the Phillies. He is 2 for 4 with a massive 7.41 ERA and 8 starts against the Phils. And the team, as a team, the Phillies slashed 303, 355, 475 against Tyon. Nick Castellanos 4 for 10, Bryce Harper 4 for 13, and Kyle Schwarber 5 for 19 with 2 home runs. Trey Turner is the only one that really kind of struggles. He's 4 for 18 against J-Mo, but they hit him really well. Now, for the Phillies, this is a bizarre one, Dustin. I don't know if you've been kind of watching this saga. Aaron Nola is really, really struggling right now.
Really struggling, yes.
0 for 5 with a 6.43 ERA in 5 games started. And if you look at it, it hasn't been good. He's had a couple bad outings. His first outing against the Nationals, he gave up 5 runs in 5 1/3 innings. Against the Dodgers in 6 innings, he gave up 3 runs, 2 home runs in that game. Against St. Louis, 2 runs in 5 innings. Then against San Francisco, he got crushed. Gave up 6 runs on 9 hits in 5 1/3 innings. He did okay against the Mets. That was his last outing. But again, he gave up 2 more home runs, 4 runs in 6 1/3 innings. Gave up 4 runs. So he has really been on the struggle bus. You hope that it continues because he does have a lot of success against the Cubs. When you watch what he has done against the Cubs, he's 7-2. He does have in 10 starts. He does have a 4.52 ERA. But when you take a look at the lineup, as far as the Cubs, John Birdie is 5 for 14 against him. Ian Happ, how about this? 0 for 15. Nico Horner, 3 for 11. Dansby Swanson, he only has 15 hits and 63 at bats. Kyle Tucker, though, hits him pretty well. He's 3 for 9, but not a big sample size with a double, 2 home runs, and 4 RBIs. But when you take a look at Aaron Nola, I mean, he's a really good pitcher. He just hasn't had a good start, so let's hope that continues.
Yeah, let's hope that continues, no doubt about that. All right, Crowley, we are happy to have the audience that we have. Thanks for everybody for tuning in and checking us out on the Fly the W podcast. Let's give everybody a little hint on who's hot and who's not with the Phillies coming to town. And Kyle Schwarber, we're going to find out if he's on that hot or not list.
How about PCA? You think he's on the hot list? 9 for
He's not on that list. It's time to get rid of this segment.
Well, he is on top of the list. 9 for his last 21, 3 doubles, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, only 4 strikeouts and 1 walk. Look at that ratio. 429, 455, 857. Ian Happ, 9 for his last 22 with a double and a home run, 5 RBIs and a walk-off hit. He has 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, slashing 409, 480 OBP, 591 slug. And Michael Busch is 7 for his last 18 with 2 doubles, 1 home run, 4 RBIs. I mean, even Kyle Tucker is hitting 368. So he's like the 4th hottest Cub on this list. And I mean, hitting 368, 479.
Isn't that just amazing?
As far as the not, Dustin, we talked about it. Seiya's a little bit banged up. John Birdie's not really a guy you want to see every day. He's 2 for his last 11. Carson Kelly, 2 for his last 11. But these are guys that you hope aren't playing a big role on a daily basis and that everybody gets healthy.
Yep. You hope everybody gets healthy, gets going in the right direction. How about for the visiting Phillies?
Look out for third baseman Alec Boehm. He is 10 for his last 25 with 2 doubles and an RBI. He's slashing 400, 444, 480. Johan Rojas, center fielder, 8 for his last 21 with a double, 4 RBIs, but he has 7 strikeouts and no walks, slashing 381, 429, Dustin. And then Bryson Stott is 9 for his last 25 with a double, 1 home run, and 7 RBIs. He's slashing 360, 390, and 520. But Dustin, it's the cold list that really gets you. All either former Cubs or someone with ties to the Cubs. Remember, they tried to get Bryce Harper. They didn't. He's 5 for his last 23 with 2 doubles, 1 home run, 5 RBIs. He's slashing 217, 357, 435. Nick Castellanos, 4 for his last 22 with a double, no home runs, slashing 192, 269, 227. And what about Kyle Schwarber? 2 for his last 22, 4 hits, 1 home run, 2 RBIs. He's slashing 182, 333, and 318.
Pretty good. Pretty good news for the Cubs on that one. All right. Ready for a prediction, Crowley?
I am.
All right. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I was perfect last time, so I'm gonna try it again here. I think the Cubs are gonna take 2 out of 3. I don't like the Saturday matchup of Luzardo versus Ben Brown. Maybe Ben Brown surprises me and can have one of those outings we know he's capable of. But as of right now, the Cubs don't hit Jesus Luzardo. The Phillies are super patient, and Ben Brown has been wild. That's the game I see them most likely to lose. I think they're going to take.
That might be the game too to look at the over. Mm-hmm.
I think I like the game 1 matchup. Game 3, I don't like the matchup traditionally, but Tyone's been doing pretty well and Nola's been struggling. And I'm thinking about all the guys that are struggling right now for the Phillies. So I think the Cubs can squeak that one out. I'm hoping on prime time they can do it, but we'll see what happens.
I'm going to match you, Crowley. 2 out of 3. Meatloaf for everybody. All right, Crowley, that's a wrap. Again, thanks for everybody tuning in on our live stream. Don't forget, we're going to live stream these and turn it into a podcast. Don't forget to listen, download, review, and subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. Have a question? Want to answer it? Well, you can email us at crowleysclubhouse@gmail.com. And those of you, when we're going live, can throw some up in the chat, and we can answer you that way as well. You can also watch us by subscribing to Crowley's Clubhouse YouTube channel. Crowley, no Cubs baseball tonight. You going to watch the draft?
No. I'm probably going to watch a replay of Tuesday night's game.
Well, maybe I get you to watch the draft. I know you're not going to watch the replay of the Sox. The Sox actually broke their losing streak because they had to play 7 innings. So I don't know if that's fair or not. I
was at the game Tuesday, so I want to see how the broadcast. This is when there's no game, Dustin, is when I actually get things done around the house, so my wife doesn't throw me out. But no, I will be at the game Saturday. Clark bobblehead. I hope to see everybody out there. Come up and say hello. I am excited about this team. They are doing good things, and I still think that the best is yet to go. Go Cubs!